Hello there. There won't be enough electricity to go round this winter, and they know it. Oh, and Richard and I did something last night. More on that at the end of the video. We are now being psychologically nudged in preparation to reduce our electricity consumption as winter approaches, because they know there will not be enough electricity for everyone. The national grid is gearing up to repeat last year's scheme to pay users not to use electricity during the evening peak use hours. The scheme is called the Demand Flexibility Service, or DFS. But it only works for people with smart meters. And from what I can gather, it wasn't much of a success last year anyway. Now let's think about this one. Where do we think the money to pay people to not consume electricity is coming from? Thin air? Is it coming out of energy company dividends? Or does the managing director pay for it from their earnings? Or do all the company workers take a hit on wages maybe? Or is it the truth that the money has to come out of the bills and or taxes that everyone pays, without affecting anyone's profit margin? People and businesses with smart meters might benefit to the tune of 10 to 20 million quid between them, with the cost being laid at the door of everyone to pay for the failure of successive governments, national grid and energy companies. And if we use less electricity, these companies still have the same bureaucracy and overheads and running costs, and they're investing more to go even greener, aren't they? So do you think our electricity costs are going to go up or down to cover any shortfall from shelling out money for not generating electricity? In effect, we are paying them not to give us electricity, and they're trying to make out it's them doing us a favour. What a scam. And think about what they'd have had to have done had the take-up of electric vehicles been much higher than the low level it is currently at. And here's what the Mail is reporting today. The Resolution Foundation think tank warned that over a third of households across England, 7.2 million in total, would still face higher bills this winter than last. There you go. And National Grid has the gall to say its Demand Flexibility Service will provide additional tools for managing the national electricity network, whilst also helping consumers in homes and businesses across Great Britain to make savings on their energy bills. What's next? Paying you from your own increased food bill to eat less meat to save the planet? You betcha. And further, this DFS scheme is actually, in effect, an added tax on those that are forced to use energy during peak times, as well as those that can't or choose not to have a smart meter fitted. All along the lines of the ULEZ schemes, where those that can't afford to upgrade their cars but are forced to drive them are the ones that get charged. And with the way our lords and masters, as well as those with the money, are milking net zero for money and power at the moment, I can see this DFS scheme being repeated until it becomes a permanent feature of the landscape. It won't be long before the government, whether red or blue, will be telling us they've increased the electricity supply along the lines of the chocolate ration so-called increase in George Orwell's 1984. Now, it's well known that China is building coal-powered electricity generating stations like there's no tomorrow. But the Chinese Communist Party is also putting renewable energy infrastructure up at a huge rate as well. Now, I may be wrong, but as I see it, the renewables are there for when the sun shines and the wind blows, and maybe the coal stations are there for when it's dark and windless or where renewables are not a viable option. Just a thought. But if that's what they are doing, then it does seem like they are duplicating the costs, somewhere along the lines that we're doing. However, China is out to build an empire, so it's the energy that matters to them, not the cost to the people. After all, the people can't complain, can they? While the governments in the West, especially the UK, are on a pathway of mismanaged decline into a control freakery state. A decline that is destroying our culture, heritage and economy. And part of that is clamping down on how much electricity the average prole will be allowed to use. But get this, the people here don't complain. They acquiesce and agree by voting the same tired old political parties into power time after time. No, actually, more accurately, the people vote for the same uni-party system that they always vote for. So we are not much different to China after all. The only difference is that in the West, and once again especially in the UK, the uniparty control over the people is far more subtle and advanced than that of China. Think on that the next time you are in the ballot box. And now for something completely different.
Hello there. Now, I'm off to see the film Sound of Freedom, something I've talked about before. Sound of Freedom, I think, is going to be a very important film. And if you don't know what it's about, then I would strongly suggest you use your favourite search engine and take a quick look for Sound of Freedom and look at the reviews it's getting. Now, I'll tell you what I think about this film when I get out of the cinema, and you'll hear about that in a moment.
So just about to go in and watch Sound of Freedom. I've got my daughter and my good lady with me for moral support. So I'll let you know what I think on the other side.
Well, I've just come out of the cinema having seen Sound of Freedom. This is a must-see film. It's an absolute marvel of gut-wrenching cinema. It's a must-see, so I enjoin you, please go and see it. I beg you to go and see it. Not waiting for it to come out to stream, but go and see this film in the cinema. That's really important. See it now, please. Go onto your favourite search engine, find out where it's showing and go and see it. It's well worth it, and only the most thick-skinned and unfeeling will not be moved. I'm in bits. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm back from the cinema. I went with my middle daughter and with my good lady, and we all found it to be a very profound experience. So I suggest you take your family and you spread the word. We can all be keyboard warriors and put our faces in front of YouTube, pontificating on X, Y, and Z, but there comes a time when you have to actually act in this world, and going to the cinema, I know it sounds crazy, but going to the cinema is an act of defiance, because they don't want this message to get out there. They try to bin this film. I mean, how long has it been out? Sorry, how long has it been since it was made? I believe over 3 years? Just insane. That's absolutely crazy. And if it doesn't get any Oscars, because, I mean, the cinematography was outstanding. The entire production value was off the charts. Soundtrack, oh, wow, really, soundtrack. And the choice of music within the film as well was brilliant. So, yeah, script, editing. Anyway, enough said on that. Let's move on to the subject matter, which all I'll say is, you know what it's about. And you owe it to those children to go to cinema to watch it, to spread the message about this film. Take as many people as you can. You know, just get to see it. It's not good enough just to watch it on streaming services. You have to go and sit in a cinema. It needs to be recorded, you see, that you were there. Cinema sale, ticket sales. We want people to know about this. We want the world to wake up to this film. It is important. I know I've been banging on about it, and you haven't seen me for a while. I've had a little bit of ill health that I get seasonally, but it was particularly bad this year. But I'm back on my feet. I'm fine. Anyway, just go to the cinema and watch it. Enough about me. I'm not important in this. Those kids are. There's 2 million of them, and they're not in a good place. To say the least, they're in hell, to be honest with you. Yeah, just go to the cinema. You look after yourselves, and I'll hopefully see you soon. Bye for now.
and it's important to stay right to the end of that film and the credits to watch the special message. Thank you for watching.